What's going on, guys? Bengals 2022 roster grades. Here we go. This will be fun. Let's see how the post-Super Bowl Bengals are doing. And what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fun NFL. Of course, like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. Sorry, the Wi-Fi on my computer has been literally probably the worst you could probably have, which has been the reason I haven't uploaded in the past couple days. It's in the process of getting fixed. Either way, though, we look at the news really quick. All-Pro Mitchell Schwartz has retired, 14 All-Pro. He didn't play last year and the year before. Of course, he really got hurt. He didn't play in the Super Bowl. He got hurt, like I said, and he's not great. Rashard Anderson, former Panthers first round pick in Jackson State, star, dies at 45. That's really star. He said he was actually a very good player. He had some tough games, but I do think he was a really good player. How does Brian Daboll's departure affect the Bills? It's not great, but they're still the Bills. Time for the Bengals roster grade. As always, starting out with the quarterback. Joe Burrow's their starter. Nothing much more to say that. He had, of course, that deep playoff run. Look at his stats really quick. Joe Burrow was very good last year. We'll look at his stats. But, yeah, Joe Burrow last season, 10-6 as a record. He didn't play Week 17. 74.4 completion percentage. Best in the NFL. 8.9 yards per attempt. One of the best in the NFL. I mean, he had the best. And then adjusted yards per attempt. Best in the NFL as well. He did take 51 sacks for 370 yards. But, I'll be honest with you, it's not all. It's partly on him. Partly on the offensive line, partly on good schematics, partly on the coaching not being great fourth down situations. Because, let's be honest, the Bengals are on a lot of third and longs, just how it is, with the way they played. But he threw for 4,611 yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. In the playoffs, he was immaculate. He had so many deep plays. His deep ball is fabulous, top 5 in the NFL for sure. Joe Burrow is definitely, arguably a top 5 quarterback. I wouldn't say he's your A+, in my opinion, but he's really good. And they also have a very good backup at Brandon Allen. He played well in the game he had to. I wouldn't say, maybe not well, but he was decent. Jake Browning, not the worst third guy in the world. But overall, the Bengals have really good quarterbacks. Okay, now for the quarterback grading. I'll give him an A. I think A is fair. I think Joe Burrow is the 6th best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. I think Justin Herbert's better. That's just my opinion on it. I think he is better just for the fact he puts up more yardage and he's more productive. Yeah, you could say he's a better record, but he was kind of bad in his rookie year, so you got to remember that as well. But still, A for his grade. That comes out to a 29.67 out of 30, which leads us to almost perfect grade. Time for running back. Okay, now we'll talk about the running back position. Joe Mixon, if he's not a top 5 running back, he's a top 10 running back. Joe Mixon's really good. He had a rough season in 2020. We'll get to that in a second once those stats load up. But behind him, you got Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine's good as well. Chris has a good backup, and he's really good in the receiving game as well. Chris Evans is meh. He is good outside the tackle, though. I gotta give him that. And even Trayvon Williams, he didn't get many carries, but he was good in special teams, and I do think he could be a good running back if you had to put him out there. But like I said, Joe Mixon, if he's not a top 10 running back, he's a top 5. If he's not a top 5, he's a top 10. But he had 4.1 yards per attempt behind an offensive line that just doesn't create a ton of penetration. 1,205 yards, 13 touchdowns, 292 carries. That isn't a ton of carries. And he didn't even have that many touches. 334 touches, yeah, it's a lot of touches, but not the most in the NFL by any means. He did have 1,500 scrimmage yards and 16 total touchdowns, so it was really good. He fumbles sometimes. Like I said, last year, though, 2 years ago, he struggled, but definitely been better this year. Top 5 running back, in my opinion. Of course, Samaje Perine's really good behind him. They've got some really good running backs. Running backs, I'll give them an A-. I just don't think here's why I don't give him an A. I love Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon he's not a top, he's top 5, top 7. I'll put him top 7 there. But more importantly for Joe Mixon, they don't have a ton of depth. Yeah, Chris Evans, Trayvon Williams, not the worst you could have as backups. But they did lose Giovanni Bernard. Even Shamaji Piran, he's not a bad backup at all. But he's not that explosive, which is a problem because you need that explosive back. They don't have that, which is kind of a problem. I just don't think their depth is anything special. But I don't think they have a bad running back by any means. But yeah, I think an A-. Yeah, I'll give him an A because they have Joe Mixon. So A for the running back room. That's 29. My bad. 19.67 out of 20. Time for the wide receivers. Okay, for this wide receiver, Jamar Chase, I don't really need to explain. He was the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to put up a couple duds in the season, but he's very explosive, and I honestly think he's a pretty underrated route runner. Not the greatest in the world by any means, but he's an explosion waiting to happen. He doesn't have great hands. Other than that, though, Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. You know who he is. T. Higgins, probably the best, one of the best, if not the best number 2 receiver in the NFL. He's so good with jump balls. He's got good speed, not great speed, but he's got good speed. I gotta give him that. He's got really good hands, and he can run routes pretty well. He's an all-around really good receiver. He needs to work on some things, but he's still really good. Tyler Boyd, most underrated slot receiver in the NFL. This dude can do it all. He's proven he can be a number 1, which is also a huge thing. It wouldn't surprise me in a couple of years if he won't be on this team, but they've got 3 elite, definitely the best receiving core in the NFL. In terms of their top 3. Mike Thomas is meh. Stanley Morgan, not actually the worst. And Trent Taylor, he's proven he can be a good receiver. I will tell you that. But other than that, it's not much. But their top 3 receivers are money. Then you got these 3 as well. But it's your probably the best receiving core in the NFL. Okay, for this wide receiver room, A+. Yeah, you could say you only have 3. The depth isn't the worst in the world either, and the fact that they have guys that can just do it all is huge. If Jamar Chase gets hurt, let's hope he doesn't. They have guys to get back him up, which is huge. Same thing if T. Higgins gets hurt. It's big when you have that, and I have not. Last year, their receiving core was dominant the whole season. Time for the tight ends. Now for this tight end room. Hayden Hurst last year with the Falcons as a backup. I also want to mention as that loads, tight end, what is it called? CJ is on the left. Of course, now he's on the Jets, so they lost him. But Hayden Hurst is a solid guy. First, it was put in a bad situation considering it was first-round pick. Should not have been a first-round pick. But he can block really well. He's good in the receiving game. I wouldn't say he's a bad tight end at all. Of course. Last year was back with the Falcons. In 13 games, he had 26 catches, 221 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The year before, 56 for 571 and 6 touchdowns. He will catch the ball well, that's for sure. And even bigger, he does not drop the ball. I can guarantee it. He does not drop the football. Yeah, he had 4 drops last year, but on 31 targets last year, he didn't drop the ball, which is really important. Then you got Drew Sample. Drew Sample's not the worst backup tight end. He really does struggle in the receiving games at times because he just isn't fast, but he's really good blocking tight end. Mitchell Wilcox is literally just a blocking tight end. Davis Moss is just super raw and hasn't really gotten any real shot to play, so we don't know much about him either. Okay, now for the tight end position. I want to give him a B, put him in the B tier, but I don't think that's fair. Drew Sample's not a starting caliber tight end as a backup, and he's not a great backup either. And the fact that you don't really have anyone other than Hayden Hurst to be your receiving tight end is a little bit of a problem because say he gets hurt. Overall, I don't think it's a bad tight end room, but I think average is fair for them. Time for the offensive line. Now for this offensive line. Okay, say all you want, but last year this offensive line was not terrible. In the run game, they didn't get a ton of penetration in terms of power, but they did block the holes well. They did make good holes, especially on the edges. Even with that, though, I gotta admit that they had some struggles with matching and schematically even bigger. Their offensive line coach was not great. That's just the truth about it. Their offensive line coach, the offensive line coach for the Bengals last year was not good because they were getting schemed up and just absolutely destroyed left and right. Whether it was zone blocking or even man-to-man blocking, they struggled with that. Jonah Williams, in a way, did as well. He suffered. But honestly, Jonah Williams is a solid left tackle. You're not going to, I wouldn't say he's a little bit above average. He's really good in pass blocking. Not the greatest in run blocking, but he can't set the edge, which is huge. Dante Smith, honestly, he's actually a pretty underrated backup left tackle. I do think he struggles with pass protection, as many backup left tackles do. But I don't think he's that bad. Jackson Carman, he's starting because he was a second-round pick, and he was a huge reach. But overall, I don't think he's the worst guy in the world. He just struggled last year. Cordell Volson is not great. I don't think he was good coming out of the draft. I don't think he'll be good now. Ted Karras, he's always been a decent center in the NFL. Fun fact, he's really never been the guy who's been a bad snapper. Like, he literally used to be a long snapper in college. So, Ted Karras is interesting, but he's not bad. He's just about average. Trey Hill's bad. Nothing much more to say. Alex Kappa has really just improved every single year in his career. Of course, he got hurt last year, but when he's on the field, he's pretty darn good. Hakeem Adenji's just not great either. So this depth is not the greatest. And like I said, Isaiah Prince, hands down him, he played pretty well in the Super Bowl, but other than that, I don't think he's that great. Leo Collins, when he's on the field, he's a really good player, but when he's not, there's a problem. Either way, guys, that's the Bengals offensive line. Let's get to the grade for that. Okay, for this offensive line, I honestly think their grade is going to be a B. I'll give them a B minus because I think 3 of their starters are solid. Ted Karras is mid, Jackson Carman is below average, and honestly, their depth isn't great as well. But I do think they do have a good offensive line, much better than last year, and it's not F like it used to be. And they've never been a bad running blocking unit. In terms of the fact, film tells you they're not that bad in the running game. But overall, it could definitely be better. So when you keep that all in mind, I do think B minus is, you know what? I think C plus is better. I'm just trying to be careful here. C plus is where they're going to be. That's 9 out of 15. That's pretty fair in my opinion. That's 9 out of 15 as well. Time for this overall offensive grade. Their grade actually comes out to a B plus, but the points comes out to an 87 out of 100, which is in the A tier, which I do think is fair for this offense. This offense does struggle at times to move the football and really score a ton of points, but they've always been consistent in the red zone, number 1. And number 2, they're a really good offense. That's just how it is. They're going to be very explosive. They can get shut down, but they're going to be good in the red zone as well, which is huge. So when you have that type of versatility and you have that type of weaponry, it's huge. Their blocking could definitely be better, obviously, but still, they've got a really good team. They've got a really good offense. Time for this defense. What? I gotta sneeze. Wait, I may hold it in. Either way, guys. Wait. No, it's gone. But my bad. We have 4-3 defense for the Bengals. More importantly, though, we'll talk about this. So it's basically just all the linebackers. Logan Wilson proved he's good. That's basically what you need to know. He's not great in pass coverage. He's really physical, though, and he doesn't miss a lot of assignments. Jermaine Pratt, typical middle linebacker. He's been on this team for a while. There's a reason for that. Really good in the run game. Decent in the pass game, pass coverage. But overall, I do like his versatility in terms of that. But still, he needs to work on some stuff. Even though he's a vet, but he's always been a good player. Akeem Davis-Gaither, meh. He does make a couple big plays in the football once in a while, but other than that, he's okay. He's just about average. Joe Bache, meh. Marcus Bailey, he's okay. Actually, not a bad backup. Keandre Jones, a lot of potential, but he does have a lot of stuff to prove. Overall, pretty solid linebacking core. Okay, I think the depth at this position isn't good, but it's not the worst. So B minus. Logan Wilson is good. Jermaine Pratt's good. Hakeem Davis-Gaither isn't great. The depth is whatever. That's why it comes out to a B minus. But overall, I don't think this is a bad running core at all. I think it's actually a good one in that facet. So that comes out to a 12. 12 plus 3.33 is 15.33 out of 20. Pretty solid. Time for the defensive line. Okay, we're not ignore pass rush for now, but Sam Hubbard and Trey Anderson both very good. Cam Sample. Why do we keep forgetting who Cam Sample is? I remember his face. I just don't know much. Oh yeah, He's a backup, isn't he? Yeah, he is a backup, obviously. But, yeah, there he is. Fourth round pick in 2021. He is not great getting off the quarterback. He's really actually just good at stopping the run, making plays in the football as well. Joseph Osai got hurt in the preseason last year, was out for the whole season. I forgot what the injury was, but showed a lot of potential. I'm happy to see what he can do. TJ Reader, most underrated defensive player in the NFL. Underrated defensive lineman in the NFL. This dude's an absolute monster. He swallows guys whole. BJ Hill was great on the Giants. Was great this year. Tyler Shelvin's actually pretty good. Justin Tupu is not great. He gets bullied. Wyatt Hubbard's actually pretty darn good in terms of his ability to get off the quarterback, but he's so just not built for the NFL. That's why he's a four-string guy. But Zachary Carter and Kareem have both been solid in their career, and Noah Smith's a good special teamer. But overall, pretty good defensive line to say the least. Bengals fans, let me know if I'm underrating your defensive line. But I'll give you guys a B+. It's a pretty darn good defensive line in my opinion. I just don't think the depth is necessarily there in the defensive line department. They do create a lot of penetration, but I don't know if they had to put an extra guy out there, especially for depth. They'd be able to get it done in terms of the run game, fourth down, all that crap. But overall, it's a really good defensive line. So that's 4 plus. What is it called? 10. That's 14 out of 15. No. That's 8 plus 4 is 12 out of 15. Obviously very good. Time for the pass rush. Okay, obviously this pass rush is the defensive line. Sam Hubbard, he had 8 sacks his rookie year. I think he's not that type of 8-sack guy, but he's a very solid second pass rusher. Trey Anderson, their number 1. He proved that last year. Of course, he had a monster year with the Saints in 2020. People thought, oh, someone's going to overpay for him. He's not going to be great. Well, it turns out they did overpay for him in terms of what we expected, but he ended up playing like it, which proves he's a really darn good number 1 pass rusher. Cam Sample, like I said, not great off the edge, but he is so good in the run game. Just monster. Joseph Osai, very athletic. I think he will be that second pass rusher, or a third guy if he doesn't get hurt. But he was really good in the preseason last year. DJ Reader, monster in the run game. I don't think he's really a pass rusher. He's not built like it, doesn't play like it, but I don't think he's the worst guy in the world at all. BJ Hill can't get after the quarterback, doesn't do it a lot though. Tyler Shelvin, probably the best defensive tackle pass rusher out of these 3 guys, but he is pretty inconsistent to say the least. But I still think he's a great player in terms of the fact that he can get after the quarterback at times. But either way, that's that defensive line for the Bengals. Okay, for their pass rush, I do think I can't give it an A range. I'll give it a B+. They have depth. They have a lot of potential as well. And I do think they have 3 guys that will get after the quarterback consistently, which is pretty important. But not only that, their defensive linemen can get after the quarterback as well, which is pretty important, like I just said. When you have 5, 6 guys that get after the quarterback pretty consistently, it's pretty important. It's pretty good. And their depth, yeah, it's not anything special. But like I said, they have potential of 3 guys to have 10 plus sacks. Maybe 2 of them are a little bit of a reach, but they have a chance to get 8 sacks, which is pretty good. So B+ for that. That's 4 plus 16 is 20 out of 25. Really good time for this secondary, starting with cornerbacks. Cornerbacks for the Bengals. Very interesting. Chidobe Awuzie, I think he's a low number 1. He's not bad by any means. I don't think he's bad at all. He just has trouble, island. You're the only guy covering this dude. Number one. Balls to the walls. I don't think he's that guy. Eli Apple, he's bad, but he does make plays in the football, and he's not that slow, which is pretty important. Mike Hilton, one of the best slot corners in the NFL. Daxton Hill, first-round pick number 31 in the draft. I think he was definitely deserved there. Mike Hilton probably will go out to wide as well, but they could have him and Mike Hilton as their 2 slot guys. They could throw him out on every single down. I think they'd be okay with this defensive. You have these, let's say, yeah, third down, you're kind of screwed if you're a defense because Mike Hilton and Daxton Hill are just going to be all over you guys, which is huge. And even their 5th guy, Trey Flowers, has had experience as a starter. Yeah, he wasn't great, but like I said, he wasn't bad. Cam Taylor-Britt, I liked him coming out of the draft. He kind of disappointed a little bit, but he's definitely not bad. Okay, this cornerback room, probably one of the most depthful in the NFL for sure, but I don't like the fact they are pretty weak on the outside. That prevents me from definitely putting him in A range. I'll keep him in B range, though. I'll give him a flat B. I don't think Eli Apple's an outside corner, especially in man-to-man. They don't have that island guy, which is kind of bad. But like I said, most of the best cornerback rooms in the NFL, that island guy, they're not, and even some of those guys are not the best corners in the NFL because they're not versatile and they cannot, like, they just don't have good ball skills, but they're really good at covering. So when you have that in mind, I think a B for them because they just don't have that island guy. But other than that, very depthful and a lot of slot corners, which is always important. So B, that's what is called 12 plus 3.67 is 15.67. 20, which is really good. Time for the safety. Okay, safety time. Von Bell, very good, strong safety in terms of coverage. I don't think his tackling skills are off the wall, though. That's kind of the problem when you have him. He's not that box safety type of strong safety that you expect. Jesse Bates, I think he's a little bit disrespected and a little bit misunderstood. Jesse Bates is not your one-high safety at every single down. He can be that guy for sure. Sorry this thing just went out. It's just terrible Wi-Fi. But Jesse Bates is not your guy who's going to go out and play one-eye safety. If that loads, I'll get this thing going. Like I said, Jesse Bates is not the guy who's going to go out there and be that island guy in terms of depth. But overall, he did have an interception for 65 yards. He had 88 total tackles. He had a forced fumble recovery. In terms of this, like, stats, he did have an 80% completion percentage. He did give up 2 touchdowns. But, like I said, he's not that island guy. He can get burned deep. But Jesse Bates, in terms of a versatile safety, and the fact that he can play over the top a lot, not every down. Like, he's not that every down ball hog. He is able to get over the top, which is, like I said, huge. And when you have that, you can't really ignore it as well. So, I think he's a really good safety. Tyson Anderson, not much I know about Tyson Anderson. Brandon Wilson, I remember he's a really good returner, and he's pretty fast. He could probably be their number one eye, but I think he needs to get better in coverage overall. So, you have those two guys, not good backups per se, but I don't know a lot about Tyson Anderson, so we're just going to go into him really quick. But that takes a second. Yeah, Jesse Bates' grade's not going to be great, just like I said. He's not that over-the-top guy, which is kind of a problem. Yeah, Tyson Anderson was a 5th-round pick this year out of Cincinnati. My bad. Out of Toledo. I don't know really anything about him, which is kind of a question mark, but whatever. He's there. But yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt was a 2nd-round pick as well. He's, like I said, I think he's a little bit disappointing coming out of the draft. But overall, this safety room is a safety room, and there's nothing much else I have to say about that. Okay, this safety room, B+. Yeah, I get there's no depth. I don't really care, though, because they have 2 really good starters. That's really that safety room. Yeah, I'm joking. I'll give them like a B. B-, and no B. Because I really do think they have good 2 starting safeties. But one of them gets hurt, they might be a little bit screwed, which is kind of a problem. But like I said, both those guys are very versatile. I do think they might need another guy who can play one high, but other than that, they're good. Yeah, that's about it. So B, that's, what is it called? 12 plus 3.67 is 15.67 out of 20, same thing as last time. Time is overall defensive grade. So the grade comes out to a B, and the points comes out to a B-, which I will actually settle with, even though it's on the lower end of B-. I think that's fair. This defense was actually really good by the end of last year, but I do think they have some question marks in the secondary, and their linebackers, their depth is weak, which is another thing I'm a little bit scared of, and I don't think this is a bad defense at all, but if it gets a little bit better in terms of injury, it could collapse, which is kind of an issue, obviously. But overall, I still think this is a little bit above average defense. But if it does have a very thin layer, which is kind of a problem. But like I said, it's other than cornerback, I don't see much depth at this, other than maybe pass rush. But like I said, there's a very thin layer there. Time for special teams. Okay, special teams time. Evan McPherson. He's not feared at anything. I'll put it that way. He had back-to-back game-winning kicks for a reason. He's a really good kicker. That's nice. Kevin Huber, good punter. He's been there for a while for a reason. Trent Taylor, good punt returner. He has fumbled the ball a couple times, but overall not bad. Chris Evans has proved he can be an elite kick returner. He does not fumble the ball either. Clark Harris, meh, that gets his job done. Long snapper. I'll give the special teams a B. In terms of their actual game, making plays, I don't think they're anything special, especially in the punt game. But I do think their specific guys are pretty good as well, and they do have good returners, which is huge. So I think a B is fair for them. That's 3.67 plus 4. That's 6.67. My bad. Not 6.67. 4 plus 7.67. Pretty good. Time for depth. Okay. Quarterback depth. You can't grade it. Running back depth. B. Wide receiver depth. A plus. Tight end depth. I'll give it a B. Offensive line depth. D plus. Overall offensive depth. B minus. Linebacker depth. A C minus. Defensive line depth. I'll give it a B. Pass rush depth. B plus. Quarterback depth. A plus. Safety depth. F. Overall depth on the team. I think there is a little bit of a disparity at some positions. Like I said, there's pretty thin layer on the defense. And they have gotten injured. I'll give them a C plus for their depth, which it's decent. 15 out of 25. It's a really good roster, of course. Time for the overall roster grade. Okay, this overall team roster grade comes out to a minus in terms of the points, 188 out of 235, which is really freaking good. But let's be honest, they don't have an A caliber roster. It's kind of because of their depth and kind of because they have some weaker positions, and it's hard to maintain this type of roster. And I don't think they have that elite A tier roster, so I'd give them a B plus. But Bengals, you have a really good roster. You should be hyped, Bengals fans. You guys are finally back to being playoff irrelevant in a team that's actually super relevant. Should be happy again. Like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed. That's the Bengals 2022 roster grades.
Showing the pressure. He's in trouble. Loses the football. It's scooped up by Shaq Lawson. Lawson off to the races, and he will score.